Good morning, Bernie Albertson here again with you. Welcome to It's All About Faith in Every Home of Church. We're in First Peter chapter 3 today, and I'm going to say good morning from the beautiful Southwest. Now, I started this yesterday, Friday. Didn't finish it. I've been suffering from sinus or something, and it's messing up my work, and it makes me very angry. But we're here now, and so let's go through it. I'm excited to do it for you. When I was called to do this work, and I get sick, it bothers me. It really bothers me. I love doing it. I love being with you. And so, unless I absolutely can't do it, I'll be here. But I'm going to start out by telling you when I started this yesterday, uh, we're headed for the weekend, which of course is now Saturday. And I really enjoy watching you young people on the weekends. It seems wherever they are, new things are forever popping up for them to do to have fun. And it's no different than when I was a youngster. Somehow, some way, we would enjoy the weekends, and I've never done this. What I see them doing, which is tubing. They take a very large truck tube, put it in the river, and float down the river on the truck tube. And out here, that is controlled by authorities for safety reasons. We have large buses, or there are large buses that drop these children or these youngsters off at the starting point and pick them up at the end of their river cruise, whatever, if that's what I can call it. That's done for safety. There are also many things out here in Arizona, in the valley, in the desert, that are done by old as well as young, and that's go up these trails on the mountains, and sometimes these are dangerous. If a person is not ready physically, if they don't have water, a lot of times these trails are not a lot of times, sometimes these trails take the lives of these people if they're not ready. And you're always seeing on television how somebody is being rescued, or once in a while you'll see them being brought down, covered up. So you have to be careful. I know when I was a youngster, I remember walking through the woods. And I, on occasion, would see an old well that had been covered up. And once in a while, one of the kids would fall in those. But those old wells were hand dug for water. And you might see the remains of an old cabin or something of that nature that was nearby. And these people that lived there at that time used these wells. And of course, they covered them up, but that doesn't last forever. So you have to watch where you're going. And I know I've rambled a bit, but I've seen a lot in my day. Stories that probably a lot of you have never even heard of, like, oh, the Rag Man, the Ice Man, the Tin Man, the man using a mule to pull a vegetable wagon into the neighborhoods, the Wart Healer, for example. The coal men, the men delivering coal to houses and putting it down a chute into the basement. The men that clean the holes that the outhouses set on. That's the thing that you see that has a door on it with a half moon on it. Old things like that, stories. And if you're interested, perhaps someday I can share that with you. Now, as far as the lesson goes today, it has two headings. And these are important, and this is an important lesson. The husband and the wife, or as I like to say, the wife and the husband, and Christian conduct. Now, verses 1 through 7, we read today that the wife is told to obey the husband, even if the husband is a non believer. And that's done because if the wife is a believer, her counsel and her actions may convert the husband into becoming a believer. So she sets an example. She's told that because God has made the husband the head of the union between the two of them. Now, the wife's told not to adorn herself with fancy jewelry and to braid her hair and to wear gaudy clothing and things of that nature, but to be serious in her home, to set an example. And that's true even so today. I can tell you from my own experience in my marriage that my wife holds sway over my actions by her very example. And she does this, and I'm swayed because I would not embarrass her in any way. And I'll protect her from any harm. So you see, even today, this is biblical teaching. In short, I'm the boss and she's in charge. And after many years, I can tell you of marriage that any man, any husband that denies what I'm saying is lying. Because without the wife, our household would be a mess. So we also learn that the husband and wife are to pray together, to seek God's counsel in all things. And we've talked about that before. To pray with your family, to pray with your children, to tell your children you love them. You know, it's hard for many people to say that. I love you. It's hard. I tell my children I love them. I can't ever recall my father telling me that, and I missed it. So we're to sanctify the Lord. Or to avoid evil. In Scripture, it's called eschew, E-S-C-H-E-W. That means to avoid. And call the Lord holy, and to treat Him as holy. The Lord's watching. He watches everything. We're to sanctify and declare holy the Lord and be ready to give testimony to those who might inquire as to our happiness in the Lord. Now, that's a strong statement, but that's what we're told to do. If you're a believer in your life and you know that being a believer is a blessing and it makes you happy and want to share this happiness and give testimony to others, you don't need to be ashamed or embarrassed to do that, and it doesn't have to be a big ordeal. Sometimes I just say, God's blessed my life in so many ways, and it simply makes me happy to be a Christian. That's an opening. And then if there's a question, you're prepared to answer it. Again, it doesn't have to be lengthy or anything. You know that God's blessed you in so many things. So we need to show that. And we also need to know this. This is from Matthew Henry. God's patient. He was patient with Noah building the ark, but there will be a time that patience will cease. And the spirits of the sinners, as soon as they leave their body, will go straight to the prison of hell, from which there is no redemption, no escape, no being saved. For once that's done, it's over forever. So I'm going to close, and as Christians we need to be mindful of those which through the blood of Christ have given us to be the children of Abraham. Through the blood of Christ, we're God's chosen people. We need to act accordingly. We need to rejoice in being saved. So I'm going to say blessings. Thank you for being here. And remind you that everyone has 10 minutes a day for God. Bye-bye.